Mastering Hot Yoga, tips for beginners. Actually, I'm going to give you 5 tips to get you more comfortable in that yoga room, maybe not being afraid to go into the hot yoga room for the first time. So if you're brand new, a beginner, and even if you're not a beginner, I know this video will help you reach your full expression, get over any self-consciousness. I'm going to hold your hand and walk you through it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Number 1, stop being afraid about going or self-conscious about going to that hot yoga room because you're a beginner.
You were scared, huh? Don't be scared.
Or maybe even intermediate student. Nobody cares. There's very few people on the planet that's been doing hot yoga longer than me and teaching hot yoga longer than me. And the teacher's going to be your ally. The teacher's going to be your friend. Hopefully, they'll take you under their wing because they're invested in you having a great experience in that hot yoga room. So definitely don't be afraid of the teacher. But as far as the students are concerned, they don't care. They're focused in on their own practice. They don't care how flexible or how strong you are. So what you have to do is focus on yourself. Before we continue, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, smash the like button if you're enjoying this video. You want to learn all about hot yoga tutorials, flows, factoids, hit the like button and the subscribe button right now. We tend to be a performance-oriented society, at least in the West. So forget about how far you can stretch, how long you can hold the pose. That's going to come on the 5th tip. By the way, the 5th tip is by far the most important. Make sure you watch it all the way to the end. What you have to do is focus on yourself and what you can do in this moment. So what you have to do, focus in on yourself, forget about any performance standard, and do what you can. Tip number 2, the benefits that you receive in hot yoga has nothing to do with how advanced you are. This is really important. The benefit comes on how much you're able to improve. So let's say there's an advanced student who's plateauing. Because you're not going to continue to go up in your yoga practice. At one point, you're going to plateau. You may get stuck. If that advanced person, let's say, isn't putting forth their best effort, they're not really moving that far in to get to the next level in the pose, and you as a beginner continue to advance, you might be in that moment, in that class, receiving more benefit than the advanced student. So think about the benefits of yoga. It's not how advanced you are, but how much you're able to improve. Put forth your best effort. Now, for tip number 3, we're going to back up a little bit and talk about your preparation, what you should be doing before class, during class, and after class, which brings us to the very first thing, and that's to hydrate. Make sure you hydrate as much as you can before the class, during the class. I know sometimes in the Bikram world, they don't let you drink water unless you have designated times. In the Barkan method, and that's how we did it in the old days in Wilshire Boulevard with Bikram and Beverly Hills. Actually, in the old days, they didn't even invent water bottles until the late 1980s, interestingly enough. So Bikram had that 5-gallon jug outside the yoga room. So after the standing poses were over, we go into the hallway, get those little cones and drink out of the 5-gallon water thing and go back into the room. But definitely, if the teacher will let you, and when they let you, take advantage of the time to hydrate. Bikram always says, after the eagle pose is party time. To me, that's not really a party, but definitely drink water in that moment. And then afterwards too. You want to make sure you drink as much water as you can afterwards. To continue with benefit number 3, and that's the prep, what you should wear. For men, loose-fitting shorts like runner shorts. You don't have to wear t-shirts because it's so hot. Some people prefer wearing a t-shirt. Make sure you wear something that can breathe, like cotton is much better because it absorbs the sweat. For women, yoga pants are great. I don't get any commission, but I believe Lululemon has the best yoga clothing out there, but it's expensive. You can go to Target and find less expensive outfits. But for men and women, having something tight to the body that can stretch. You definitely don't want to be constricted in your clothing, which is going to restrict your practice. We want to be pliable and elastic on our body. We want the clothing to also be able to stretch. You don't want to wear too many clothes because of the heat. They either tight like a spandex, or you prefer loose, that's more of your style, but something that's going to stretch. It's not going to create any type of restriction. The yoga mats, once again, I don't get a commission, but Manduka, I believe, is the best yoga mat. It's expensive. It can definitely be on the expensive side, but they do a lifetime guarantee for the Pro Light and the Pro mats. I've had my Pro Manduka mat for over 17 years. It's brand new. You don't want something that's super loose. You don't want something that's super thin, and you don't want something that's thick. Like when you go to the gym and they have the exercise mats that you can do planks on. The last thing you want to do in a hot yoga world, because so much of hot yoga is the balancing poses, we want a nice, strong, firm, solid foundation to stand on and to lay down on in the standing poses and the floor poses respectively. So something nice and strong, a little bit of thickness to it to support your balance, to support your practice. And continue with benefit number 3, how much should you come as a beginner? This is my prescription. 4 times a week should be minimum. 5 is great. 6 is ideal. I'm not a proponent of doing 7. I think you need 1 day, give your body a break. But as a beginner, intermediate, advanced student, you should be doing yoga on a regular basis. Bikram Vishnu Ghosh used to always say, you sleep every day, eat every day, hopefully you go to the bathroom every day. You should do yoga every day, but not 7 days a week. Take that day off. The last thing you want to do is come once or twice a week. And even worse than that is taking days off in between, because if you take days off in between, you're always in catch-up. You're not building momentum. As you build momentum, the body becomes more pliable. So I would do yoga, start on Monday, I'd finish on Saturday. Friday and Saturday, I'd be peaking. And Monday would be my worst day because of the day off on Sunday. So if I'm always taking days off, I'm always in catch-up. So you want to build a momentum. 4 times a week is minimum. 5 is great. 6 is ideal. Don't do 7. And be patient. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So here's a great little thing you can do. And this is how you can start doing yoga on a regular basis. Because if you're laying in bed, say you're doing the morning class, and you have to make the decision each day, should I do yoga or not yoga? Eventually, you're going to talk yourself out of it. You're going to lay there saying, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go into the hot room and do the awkward pose and do the eagle pose when I'm nice and comfortable in my bed. So here's my advice. Make the decision once. You make that decision once, you're coming 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, let's say, and now you get up, you brush your teeth, you put on your clothes, you're in your car, all of a sudden, you're doing the breathing. You've already made the decision. Don't give yourself a chance to talk yourself out of it. Tip number 4 is to be open to the instruction. Anytime you're learning any type of new subject, you want to find a teacher that you can trust and open yourself up to their instruction. I always say the best teachers are the best students. Ask all of my teachers that I've had in my lifetime, and they're going to tell you how diligent I was once I trusted them as a teacher, how good a student I was. I listened to what they said, and I put forth my best effort. Now, if you don't live close to a hot yoga studio, I can be your teacher on the Barkan Method on-demand membership. I put links in the description below. There's a 7-day free trial. Check it out. We have over 500 classes. I've recorded every single class that I've taught since the pandemic. And if you live close to Fort Lauderdale, we teach the Barkan Method Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. at PRANA Hot Yoga on 17th Street and Federal Highway. I'll put links in the description below. And this sort of can flow into benefit or tip number 3, and that's where you should be in the room. As a beginner, I prefer that you be in the back middle of the room, 2nd row, 3rd row, so you can watch the more experienced students as a reference to see what to do, and the teacher can keep their eye on you. The last thing you want to do is hide in the corner. Definitely don't go in the 1st row, because then you have no reference. You have no idea what you're doing. Don't hide in the corner, because sometimes nowadays we'll turn to the side all of a sudden. If you're on the right side, you're in the front row. So back middle, you can watch the people, watch the experienced students follow along. And as you get more advanced, you can start moving your way up, maybe to the front row. And back to the yoga mats, I just remembered, in the old days, they didn't even invent yoga mats until, again, the late 1980s. So how do we do yoga in the old days? The Iyengar, you can see a video of the Iyengar doing yoga on the carpet. That's exactly what we did. We did yoga on the freaking carpet. You can imagine the smell. Now, it was harder to do a posture like triangle because you have to use your inner thighs and your legs to maintain your balance, or you're just going to slip out, which a lot of people did. But you adapt and you get strong to it. Nowadays, we have the yoga mat. We have sometimes the yoga towel or the yogi toes you can put on it. Modern day equipment, modern day technology has made it a little easier for your practice. Just wanted to give you a little historical factoid. And that brings us to tip number 5. Like I said before, the most important one I consider to be my most profound saying. And here it is. Find your starting point in every pose that you do, and go slow enough, back up for a second, less in the beginning, more at the end. Don't go too far too soon. So start out nice and slow, and find your starting point wherever it may be without judgment.
That is very profound.
I said before, we're a performance-oriented society. We think, oh, I wish I was more flexible. Oh, I wish I was doing what that person's doing in the front row. I'll never be able to stretch that far. And then we try to push too far. And then as soon as we push too far, you end up falling out of your position. Sometimes we do that just to have an excuse to fall out of the position. So we go slow enough to find our position without judgment. Don't make that judgment. This is what is. You can't be frustrated because now you're doing something about the situation. Frustration means you just can't do anything about the situation. Well, you're doing the best possible thing you can about the situation by doing yoga, by being in that hot room. So we find our starting point without judgment. And where's our goal? This is the last part of the saying. We find the next inch, or if you live outside of the United States, the next 2 centimeters. That's it. That's your goal. Your goal is not the full final position unless that's your next inch. Your goal is to find where the next inch is. If you try to push it, your body's going to tighten up to protect itself. And when it does that, you're out of the pose. As soon as your body tightens up, you're done. You need to be pliable and flexible. So if we think the next inch, now we have a tangible goal. The body and the mind are very connected, and they go, okay, that's something that's doable. We'll find that next inch. We'll find that next level, and now your body will respond and allow you in. You move too fast, too soon, the body will react and lock you out. There's a saying that yogis have, the ancient sages, the ancient rishis. They say, the yogi expects nothing, but prepares for everything.
Oh, very profound.
No expectation. This is what is. Like I said before, you come into that room, some days you're going to be stronger, more flexible than other days. Evaluate the situation without judgment. Find that next inch. Be patient, because if you start doing yoga on a regular basis and the years start to accumulate, it's going to not only change your life, it possibly will save your life, that you live to a much longer age with a higher quality of life. This is a strange little equation that Bikram said that Vishnu Ghosh would always say. He would say that the yoga class that you're doing today, the benefit of this class you're doing today, won't really take effect until 5 years from now, because it's a residual effect that we're programming into our physiology, and it accumulates. So once you've been doing yoga for at least 5 years, now you get the immediate, because you're definitely going to have an immediate high from the class you're doing in that moment, but now you're going to kick into the residual effect from the class you did 5 years ago. Now we're in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it continues to accumulate, give you the healthiest body that you can have physically, mentally, and eventually spiritually, and it all comes together. So don't be intimidated. Don't be scared. This is all about you, not about anybody else. There's no judgment. There's no expectation. Get into that room. Do the best you can. Find the next inch. Change your life forever. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell. If you want to learn all about hot yoga, tutorials, flows, factoids, any comments you have, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.